All right, guys, let's start off with the Apis. This is the C1 Express S, or the C1 Max Express ST. This is an upgrade from their C1 Express. It has a bigger motor. This thing can do over 1,000 watts now. This thing has just a better screen to it. And I think an overall better look. It looks like substantially better. And it doesn't really scream e-bike, okay? Now, my bottom line up front, if you're okay with the price point, this thing is normally sub 800 bucks. You are okay with, some quirky things I'm gonna explain later in the video, but if you just wanna know like my riding experience, me personally, I would spend the money on this bike. There you go. So if that's what you need to know, go forth, make your purchase, use the links down below. There are things I don't like about it and I do like about it, but this is just a bike that I think could be a good bug out bike, a good everyday bike, and it works out well. Now, here's some things that they got to say about the bike itself. Some things I don't like about the bike. The bike is using mechanical brakes instead of hydraulic disc brakes or hydraulic brakes. And the thing about that is the stopping power is just not going to be as fast as, of course, if you were rocking the hydraulic brakes. Now, you don't have to worry about maintaining those brakes the same way, but it is something to think about. Okay, that's one thing I'm not a big fan of. Next is the seat. The seat is not very comfortable, but the seat is easily interchanged. Okay, you can buy an aftermarket seat. You don't have to rock the seat that it comes with. It's easy to just swap the seat out with something that you can pick up on Amazon or similar like that if you really, really want to. So if the comfort of the seat and stuff like that are gonna be important to you, this one was not very impressive for me. I haven't swapped the seat out, but I'm probably gonna be giving this to a neighbor. So that's gonna be something that I recommend that he does. Next, the pedals. The pedals are very, very, very cheap. I did swap the pedals out. Like I said, I'm gonna probably be giving this to a neighbor who's an older man. He's in his 70s. And so I did swap the pedals out to something that's a little bit more grippy, but they weren't the best out the box, okay? The cable management, the cord management on this could be a little bit better. I wish they were in a sleeve. They're not. I wish this thing had a cup holder, especially like on either right below the battery switch off port, or maybe even like right on the frame of the bike, because this is just such a cruising type of bike. I would love to be able to throw like a 16-ounce water bottle on this bad boy, drinking when I'm at stop signs, drinking when I'm waiting across the street. That would be pretty nice if something like that was available. And the turn signals don't give you any indication on the screen if you left the turn signals on. So you could be riding with your turn signals on for 2-3 miles and you would have no clue, okay? So those are my cons. Let's talk about my pros. I think it's a pretty good looking bike, man. Like, this thing here is one of those bikes that I've had a lot of bikes that are like cruising looking bikes, whether it's from competitors like Hey Bike or from blanking on other names right now, Hey Bike, other bikes from Apis themselves. I've had bikes that came in from MacFox. This is a really good looking bike. I think that they did a good job. I also like the fact that this company has been in business for at least 3 years. I know you may think to yourself, X, who effing cares that the company has been in business for 3 years? Well, that really matters for a lot of these pop-up e-bike companies, because you're gonna wanna know a couple of things. Number one, are you gonna be able to get future parts for this bike? Okay, if you have an issue with it, are you gonna be able to buy a battery in the future? Are you gonna be able to get if your handlebar gets all jacked up, are you gonna be able to buy stuff like that? So that matters to me. The fact that the C1, the regular C1 was on their website for so long before they brought this one out, it gives me good feelings. I've gotten bikes from other companies that literally the bike was on their website for 6 months, and it's as if they're testing out bikes to see what sticks. So I like that that's available. I also like the fact that this does use common sizing on stuff. I mentioned earlier I changed out the pedals because they're not using some freak, sizing or some freak dimensions that you never heard of like I've had on other bikes. You can swap out these handlebars. I like that it's a twist and not a thumb handlebar. So if I want to swap out the handlebars, I can. The throttle's easy to assess. I like the fact that these are 26 by 2.6. So these are a little bit bigger than 2-inch wide tires, meaning that if the battery does die on this, you can pedal this home, okay? Those 4-inch e-bike tires that you guys may see with the bigger batteries, those things are hard AF to pedal if you were to want to, if you wanted to pedal those, if the battery would be dead, or if you just want to ride them like a regular bike. I like the fact this has a Shimano shifter on here and a 7-speed so that you can actually pedal this if you really wanted to. And I like the fact that it does have shocks. A lot of stuff that you wouldn't get on some bikes, and you can see where they definitely had to cut costs down by giving you the mechanical brakes, okay? You know, they didn't do as big a motor as they probably could. They probably could have did a bigger battery, but they definitely upgraded the battery even from the previous version of this bike. So you may think to yourself, well, you know, a 28, I think it's about a 28 amp hour or watt hour. I can't remember how they measure this battery. I'm pretty sure it's amp hour. You may think to yourself, well, that doesn't seem like the biggest battery in the world. And it's not necessarily the biggest battery in the world. They say it's rated for 85 miles. That might be true if you do pedal assist and you actually pedal the bike and you weigh like 120 pounds. Me, I'm 230 pounds and I rarely pedal. So I'm only gonna be able to take this bad boy maybe 40 miles, okay? Now, I will tell you this, I necessarily have not done a battery distance test on this. I really wanted to see how does this thing feel riding it? And a lot of times I will do my battery distance test, but this isn't one of those bikes where I wanted to see, could I take it for miles and miles and miles? You know, I didn't really want to do that with this. I like the accessories that they offer on their website. You can get a front basket, you can get a basket for the included rack, okay? So I like the fact this thing actually includes a rack. So if you wanted to, you could just buy it. I have mine outfitted right now with a large duffel bag from Vertex, just so I can show you guys in a little bit how this could be used for a bug out. This thing can handle over 400 pounds of weight. So that's a good thing, because between the rider and anything you strap to this thing, whether you saddlebag it up or you just put stuff on the rear rack, it's going to be able to handle that type of stuff. So I like that. It's a very comfortable ride. Now their website says it can handle riders from 5'1", I think, to like 6'5". I would argue against that. I think it can handle riders 5'4" and above. My wife is 5'3", I think, or something like that. And like, even with the seat at this lowest, she was having to like tilt the bike over just to get onto the seat. So can a 5'1" rider ride the bike? Yeah, but is it something that they're gonna be able to use pretty easily? Probably not. All right, so that's something that you're gonna wanna think about as well. Nice little bike to be able to do quick errands like pick up your packaging and stuff like that. So I do like it for that purposes. Make sure that you are subscribed, because we're gonna be taking a look at the, well, I say new-ish, the Spyderco. This is the Shaman Salt, which should be in this box. I'm gonna check that out soon. And then we definitely are going to be checking out a bunch of more stuff from VanQuest. VanQuest has been coming out with a bunch of new slings, so we're gonna check that out as well. And listen, guys, if you ever wanna send me stickers or anything like that, my address is included on the bottom of every video. So if you ever wanted to send stuff like that, we can definitely hook that up. Let me just show you while I'm sitting here with the capabilities of the rack. You see this rack I have on here? The rack itself has a very big 50-liter Vertex bag on it right now, strapped down. And this thing is, I mean, I like it. I like the fact that it can handle a bigger duffel bag like this if you were in the type of scenario where you may have wanted to use this for bug out purposes. Look at it. I think it's a pretty sharp looking bike. Could the headlight be bigger? Yeah, probably. But I haven't had a lot of complaints from me personally for that. So that's something I'm not too concerned with. So I guess we'll talk about some quick features of the bike. You do have a horn, or actually you have the light, sorry. That's how you turn on the light. The light itself is okay-ish. It's not gonna knock your socks off, okay? And then you have the horn, electronic horn. Then you have the turn signals. I don't know if you can see them with anything on the rack. Let's see, can you see the, yeah, I guess you can see the turn signal. So that's gonna be enough to kind of let like someone know that you are turning, but are they going to really be paying attention? I don't know. You can remove the actual battery by using the key right here and put it in a backpack and take it inside with you. So let's talk about some features on the bike you don't get. I don't consider them cons, but there are other bikes that offer the features I'm going to talk about. So if you want this type of stuff, you're going to want to look elsewhere. The bike itself does not have an auto off feature. So some bikes, when you put them in park, meaning you put the kickstand down, there's a sensor in the bike that knows that you put the kickstand down, and it will eventually, whether it's 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever, it will turn the bike off. Saves battery. If you're not going anywhere, you know, this doesn't have that. It also would be nice if this bike had a park mode, right? So meaning that when you put the kickstand down, even if it's in pedal assist 3, then you would want a bike that had the ability to not go. So if your kid walks up to the bike, they twist the throttle, the bike's gonna move if the kickstand down. There are other bikes with the kickstand down. The bike will not move if one of your kids, or if you were to accidentally touch the throttle. This is not one of those bikes, okay? So if you're looking for those type of features, you're not gonna be getting that here. Also, the bike sounds a lot like a regular bike with a motor attached to it. Meaning, a lot of e-bikes, okay, when you're not pedaling the bikes, that noise you get from a regular bike, the kind of like noise of a bike, just kind of the chain moving around or clicking around, you normally won't hear that on some e-bikes. You can kind of hear it here. Let me get quiet. Let me move the mic a little closer to it. So that clicking sound, that's what you normally get on like just a normal bike you pick up at like a Walmart or whatever. That noise doesn't, some other e-bike companies have figured out when you're not pedaling how to get rid of that. Now, if you're actually pedaling the bike, you don't hear that, but you may not always want to pedal. So if that's a noise that you don't want to hear, that's something else to consider. So the bike itself definitely has a lot of different pedal assist modes. You can get into the menus and you can turn a governor on and basically force the bike to go slower if you're going to be giving this to one of your kids. But you really got to understand how these menus work to do that reflexively. I've tested enough of these e-bikes to know when I get inside the menus exactly how to go and turn the governor on these bikes. But you may not realize that immediately. When I got the bike, there was no assembly video available. I'm pretty sure they have one available now. Let's just show you the max speed, okay? We haven't done this yet. Max speed test. So we're gonna take this up. This is the Apis C1 Max Express ST. And right now it is 20 miles an hour. So it is in class 2 mode. You can take it out of class 2 mode. If you begin to pedal, right, it's still gonna max out at 20 miles an hour. So the bike ships at 20 miles an hour. Now, when I get to a stop sign, I'm gonna take it out of class 2 mode and put the bike in class 3 mode. But I wanted to show you this because this is a mode that I would keep the bike in for like my teenagers, because they can't go faster than 20 miles an hour. I want them to wear helmets. I'm gonna tell them like, hey, don't go faster than 15. But when I'm not with them, they're gonna do whatever the hell they want, right? So you can force it to stay under 28 miles an hour simply by leaving it the settings when you get it out the box. Now I'm gonna change these settings once I get up here, and I'm gonna show you that this thing could go a little bit faster. All right, so the stopping, not the best there. You know, it is what it is. All right, so now I am in the menus. I don't know if you can see exactly what I'm doing here, but we're gonna go here. We're gonna go to, it should be P8. Yeah, P8. So go P8, push I, and it says 20. You're just gonna turn this up to 64. And then you turn the bike off. And then you turn the bike back on. And once you turn the bike back on, then you can throw it in pedal assist 5. And then now we should be able to go faster than 20. Then we should be able to go faster than the 20 miles an hour. All right, so the torque off the line, it's not the fastest, but I really do see this as a cruising type of bike. So let me just show you here. So now we're up here. We are at 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27.6 miles an hour, 28, and we just got to 28 miles an hour. I think we could have went faster, but I want to show you a hill test with this bike. So I'm going to take you to a hill I always test e-bikes on to see what type of like power these things have going up a hill. While we're doing that, we're going to see if we can get it to go above 28 miles an hour. 28 miles an hour is technically class 3 e-bikes. It's supposed to do 28 miles an hour when you're pedaling, right? So to be street legal, especially in places like California, when you're not pedaling the e-bike, it's called class 2 and it goes 20 miles an hour. When you pedal, that's why it's called pedal assist. When you pedal the e-bike, it can go up to 28. This thing's going 28 without me even having to pedal. You know, a lot of e-bikes do that, but just to kind of show you. So once I get an opportunity here, we're gonna try to take it and see if it goes faster than 28 miles an hour. It does feel like that, I think it's 1100 watt motor. It feels like that motor's gonna give it to me, okay? We have about 60 pounds of gear in that Vertex bag I showed you. I'm 230 pounds. And then my backpack has an additional 20 pounds of gear in it. So we got a lot of weight on this bike right now, and it still was able to zip on a flat surface up to 28 miles an hour. So we're gonna take this onto a trail near me, and we're gonna see on this common hill that I test, we're gonna go from a stop and see, can it take me up that hill with no pedal assist? But this is just a very good, fun little bike to zip around on. Could you use this every day? 100%. Great bike. I like the fact that they gave you the type of handle bars that actually kind of like allow for your hands to rest. When you are like 8 or 9 miles into an e-bike ride or a bike ride on these type of things, you're gonna really appreciate those little features. You're gonna appreciate those a ton. Always stop right here at these rocks. This is like my stopping place. And then from here, I see this is a 15-degree grade. I think it might even be a little bit steeper than 15 degrees. But I see, can the e-bike go from here up to the top of that hill without struggling? So I'm gonna see where I am when I get to the hill. I got to the hill at 12 miles an hour. Now we're going the hill, and it slowed down to 11, but it did get me up the hill. That's a good thing, okay? I have had other e-bikes where I've tested on city streets and all sorts of stuff, and they can't do that test. So that's really good to know that we have the ability to get this bike up to speed, even on a, coming up to an incline like that. So let's just see if we can do another speed test, okay? So we're gonna take this and see if I can get this thing to jump faster than 28 miles an hour, because I know a lot of times these e-bikes leave a little bit in the tank on purpose. So we're gonna see if we can get this thing up and running over 28. Then I'll give you my final assessment here in a second. Okay, we're not gonna do it on this street. At least I don't think we're doing it on this street. Let's see. Now I doubt it, because I gotta stop here in a second, and I don't have hydraulic disc brakes. These mechanical brakes means I have to start the stopping process a lot sooner than I would on other bikes. But this is a nice long street. This should give me the room to get this bike up to speed. It's flat, long. I can see if there's cars coming. So let's go. All right, here we go. 22, 22.5. We're now at 24. We are approaching 26, 27, and we are at 28, 28. That's it. 20. That's it. You're getting 27.6 or 28 miles an hour. 28.1. 28.1. All right, there we go. So they do have a governor on here that keeps you from going faster. Keeps you from going faster than the 28 miles an hour. So, hey, listen, this is a pretty dope bike. All right. The price points that they have on this, I think it's a bike that's worth it, mainly because of the fact that the car has existed more than like 10 minutes, okay? That's a thing that is kind of important to me. So, first time stopping by, guys, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. Everyone else, we'll speak soon.